Tensions are rising on college campuses across the United States as student groups speak out in support of either the Israeli or Palestinian people. The divide in the Middle East on full display right here at home. Joining me now, University of Florida President, former Senator Ben Sasse. Good to have you with us this morning, sir.
Thank you for the invite, Shannon.
I want to read a little bit of what you said in your statement. You said, "What Hamas did is evil. This shouldn't be hard. Sadly, too many people in elite academia have been so weakened by their moral confusion that when they see videos of raped women, hear of a beheaded baby, or learn of a grandmother murdered in her home, the first reaction of some is to, quote, provide context and try to blame victims. It is beneath people called to educate our next generation of Americans." I saw a few statements that were quite that clear. What's been the response?
You know, Shannon, we have the most Jewish students of any campus in the country at the University of Florida, and we're going to do two things at Florida. We're going to protect our Jewish students, and we're going to protect speech. It really doesn't seem like it should be that hard. You got so many universities around the country that speak about every topic under the sun, Halloween costumes and microaggressions, but somehow at a moment of the most grave, grotesque attacks on Jewish people since the Holocaust, they all of a sudden say there's too much complexity to say anything. It doesn't make any sense to us. And so we just did two basic things. We announced that we're gonna protect our Jewish students and we're gonna protect speech.
There's been a lot of focus on Harvard. You are a graduate of that university. Here's what some student groups said in a statement that a number signed on to. "We, the undersigned student organizations, hold the Israeli regime entirely responsible for all unfolding violence." There's been a lot of backlash to that. There have been three statements now, at last count, that I saw from the president there, Claudine Gay. There are some, here's what she said: "Our students have the right to speak for themselves, but none of these groups speaks for Harvard University or its leadership." Some say that wasn't enough of a condemnation of that statement. What do you think?
Well, it's not really my purpose to comment on what's happening on other campuses particularly, but I'll say this in general. There's just way too little education happening on a lot of elite campuses in America right now. There's been such a focus on victim ideology for so long and such a little limited focus on actually reading texts. When these university presidents want to say these issues are too complex, I mean, we have raped girls, stolen, kidnapped grandmas, we have a massacre at a concert, we have intentionally targeted schools and babies. This isn't morally complex. It's easy to condemn evil as evil, but if they want to wrestle with complexity, why don't some of these university presidents stand up and actually read the Hamas charter on their campus and then grapple with the call for the genocide and eradication of the Jewish people? Because that's who Hamas is. This isn't gray. We know who Hamas is. And so why don't universities get back to actually educating and help students that are so confused in groups like that have to actually come to terms with the fact that the paraglider imagery, these black patches that people at protests around the world are putting on their shirts as they go to these protests, these demonstrations, these are not surprise images. These flow directly from the texts of Hamas's charter. And so why don't the universities do a little bit of educating?
What do you make of those, including, some prominent alums, also other alums from Harvard, saying that they think some of these students who signed on to this statement, that they should have to pay a price, that they want to put them on a no hire list? I know that you've said free speech is a big priority. So where do you come down on that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a zealous defender of free speech. Our Constitution protects the right of people to make an abject idiot of themselves. It also allows people in the public square to say, wait a minute, you really believe that? You've thought this little about what you want to stand for in the world? So obviously, a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds make a lot of dumb choices, and there are definitely students that are a part of groups that didn't know what leadership of their organizations were signing up for. But for far too long, people have just gotten a pass by saying things like, by any means necessary. What does by any means necessary mean at some of these pro-Hamas rallies? It means the targeting of women and children are things that they think are to be countenanced as they try to drive Israel off the map. I think people need a lot more serious wrestling with actual texts and the actual consequences of terror groups that have made clear what their intentions and purposes are relative to the Jewish people.
Yeah, and that's what we hope our universities will be for those difficult conversations. Ben Sasse, University of Florida President, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.